Hello, everybody, and welcome to Tot&HAM, the show where James and I talk about Tottenham and West Ham a little more than we should. Because we don't want to talk about it too much on the main podcast that we do that went out yesterday, if you missed it, where we talked about all
Tottenham
of the game
and West Ham.
a little bit. We talked about the entire game week up until and including the Arsenal-Manchester United game yesterday. So just to briefly touch on, the points are now finalised. I end up on 58 net.
Nice.
9 points from Aubameyang, 1 from Ceballos. And it rose me up to 1.666 million. So I don't like the 666 in my overall rank at the moment. But, you know, it's all good. I'll take it.
You're not alone, mate. It's a long way to go.
Yeah. Indeed. Thoughts on the game yesterday? Just
shit.
Briefly. It wasn't great. It was very, 20 minutes of United, 20 minutes of Arsenal, 20 minutes of United. It flowed like in waves of one side being on top.
The first half didn't have any fucking flow at all, mate. It was ironic after what we recorded yesterday about the 99 semi-final, and then to watch that.
It was drab, yeah.
I couldn't help but watching it and thinking, my God, these two are so far away from where they were. I thought by the end, Arsenal didn't deserve to lose.
No,
there were a couple of very impressive performances for Arsenal. Guendouzi was very good again. I know he kind of stepped up in the Villa game. He played well against Spurs. I think he's having a good season. And the young boy Saka did well.
Yeah.
And Aubameyang is a killer.
He really is. I'm so glad he's in my team right now. Still no sign of a price rise for Aubameyang, but I know some of you guys are going to be jumping on him soon.
It's coming. It seems to be all the Twitter talk about getting him in.
Yeah, I mean, every week he's returned, and apart from 1 week, they're all goals, just one assist. And that was the Liverpool game, which you'll forgive him for, really. 53 points now so far this season, so he's doing particularly well.
This monster good. What's that, 7.5 average a week, roughly?
Yeah.
It's good.
Yeah,
very good.
And the fixture run is really good for them now.
Well, it's prolonged up to around about game week 16, I think. So, But it is Arsenal.
Yeah, for sure. I'm not a fan when you have three holding midfielders, Guendouzi, Xhaka and Torreira. I just don't think they need it. Two's enough. And Xhaka's the one that can do one. And Ceballos needs to play because he's just really...
Oh, there's so much better side when Ceballos plays. I think what really appeals about Aubameyang from an FPL perspective as well is the fact that he's the one, right?
Yeah,
there isn't no, we can all have a Aguero, Sterling, KDB debate, whether you want 1, 2, 3, whatever. Same with Salah, Mane. With Arsenal, and I guess even with Spurs, you can go, oh, is it Kane? Is it Son? With Arsenal, you absolutely know it's him.
You really do.
And that's why he always appeals.
Yep. Let's talk about Tottenham and West Ham.
Shall we?
Yeah, we should. So for a change, you put a tweet out asking for questions. We had a few stupid ones, generally. But we did have a few more serious ones as well. But let's talk about the games at the weekend. Southampton. Let's start with let's frame it from a question that came in from FPL Tractor. Kane looking better or Southampton a bit shit in defence?
Kane looking better. Yeah, I thought he did at Leicester. He obviously didn't play in the whole Colchester debacle. As I said on last night's pod, when he had that turn in the second half, and then he ran straight at the back four, it was like, yeah, that's peak Harry Kane. And I think he's on form at the moment. What is he? 5 goals in 7.
It's not bad at all.
It's all right, isn't it?
Yeah, it's just under
what
the
do
radar.
you want or what do you expect from him? Yeah, do you know what? Maybe he hasn't got the... I think one of the problems for people in considering Harry's an FPL asset is A, that with Son. B, at the moment, it doesn't feel like there's the explosiveness of, say, those back-to-back hat-tricks in late 2017, for example. We don't really see that happening. Is he still a good, viable captain option for me in the next 2 game weeks? Yep, definitely. Got no doubt about it. If he's fit, he'll be my captain. I'm gonna back him. I'm gonna back him.
Yeah, he's 1, 2, 3, 4. He's 8th on the highest scoring forwards at the moment. It's not bad.
Well, that's not where you'd want him to be. I think that's more the point. And you look at some of those that are kind of near enough, 3/5 of the price. Pookie, Wilson, Abraham. Or even like Firmino and Vardy have got a bit more at the moment.
Yep.
I expect Harry to be doing bits in the next 2 game weeks. Personally,
he's priced to be 3rd best striker after Aguero and joined with Aubameyang.
And obviously, from the weekend gone, we'll never know if there was more in it for both Kane and Son. There's no way of knowing.
You mean because of the red card?
Well, of course, yeah. You can't judge that and look at it statistically at anything from the weekend. We've ended up starting with a 4-3-1-2, moved that within 10 minutes to 4-2-3-1, and Aurier gets sent off at a point in the game where we've just gone ahead and are looking better, and it feels like the game's finally under control. He gets sent off, and then suddenly you're back to a 4-4-1, basically, and leaving Harry right up top as the target man, old-fashioned. His hold-up play is so good. He really has. One of the things people talk about is game evolving, and all right, he might have lost a yard or two. His hold-up play is getting better. What that equates to FPL returns, I'm not too sure, but as a target man forward, he's evolving, I feel, similarly to how Shearer began to evolve after injuries. He's becoming a different type of player. Doesn't mean he's not going to get the goals that he always is capable of doing. I trust him completely. And he's on form again, so I have no qualms over Harry.
Yep. But the advice is still, if you're buying one, buy Son. But if you're on Harry, stick on Harry.
Well, I think if you were going to buy Son, I think the advice would have been to do it before the game week that's gone.
Yeah.
I think the looming game week 9 fixture against Watford after the international break has to be a concern, because he's obviously going to go and play in Korea. And it's a good excuse with a Champions League tie to follow 3 days later to leave Son out, I'm afraid. And I think a few people, maybe yourself included, are looking at that game week 9 if you've got him and thinking, yeah, might captain him there. It's going to be a painful wait for the team news if you do. I'm not saying don't do it, but you're not going to be in a position to know unless Poch says on the Friday, look, he's coming back late or whatever. It's a risk.
Yeah, I mean, Aubameyang away at Sheffield United is also a viable option. Man City have got Crystal Palace away, also a viable option. It's just that risk factor, isn't it? Whereas Kane, you think more than likely would play. Well,
it'll be a tempter, but particularly those, I mean, Kane at home, Kane or Son at home to Watford, or maybe Abraham at home to Newcastle on that game week. They're the two best home fixtures anyway. Will people have a little bit of regret over Abraham after blanking at the weekend? He really shouldn't have. Will that put people off? You'd have absolute trust in Kane and Son were they to play at home to Watford, wouldn't you? And there's no doubt on Harry starting.
That's FPL rumour. Bullet was asking Son, game week 9, Watford at home, please. Let's wait and see what happens. He might get one of these phantom injuries that means he doesn't end up going to Korea for whatever reason, which does happen.
That would be handy.
A little strain.
A little phantom injury, yeah. We could do with a couple of them, actually.
And the other person that's talking about that as well is our friend Andy at Let's Talk _FPL, the YouTube channel. After I guaranteed him a Yarmolenko goal, he wants you to guarantee him a Son goal for game week 9.
Well, I can't.
And I actually guaranteed him 2 Yarmolenko goals in every game from now until the end of the season.
Yeah, I think you'd be paying up, mate.
It wasn't a bet. I just said you can have him. He asks about Fabianski, but we'll come to West Ham
on keepers. I want to talk about Lloris a little bit actually, because there's not too much I can give you insight-wise from the tactics from the weekend, other than we changed system really early because Southampton started in a back 3, which was unexpected after their original team sheet, which definitely looked like a back 4. Obviously, Cedric picked up an injury in the warm-up. Vestergaard came in. I think they just completely changed system based on personnel. So not too much to go over Spurs tactics. I'm going to talk about Lloris after the error at the weekend. Regular pod listeners will know I've joked a number of times every time Gazzaniga makes a mistake that the people that think he's better than Lloris need to have a long, hard look at themselves.
Yeah,
Lloris has a real weakness with his kicking and his distribution. But it's improving, and it's been constantly improving, in my opinion, from the team that he came into back in 2013, I think it was, to now a side that's always going to play out from the back, and that's demanded of him from management. Yes, he's not on the as good on the ball as obviously an Ederson or Alisson, or actually probably even like a Leno. He's quite good with his feet. But what he does make up for is he's one of the best shot stoppers in the game. He's also a proven winner, right? How many teams have got a World Cup winning captain in their squad? Yeah. And that's important for a club that is notoriously being spoken about of not winning things. People, I hear a lot of Spurs fans a lot of the time saying Lloris needs replacing. My argument is always, go on then, name someone. Are you going to go and buy?
There's not that many good goalkeepers out there.
You look to even go and buy a good young keeper. Look what Chelsea played for Kepa.
Yeah.
70 minutes. Kepa better than Lloris?
No. Maybe long term, but as an asset,
they're comparable. It's fair enough. But that's what I'm saying. You want to go and buy a good young replacement. What are you going to pay for it? So, and I think Spurs fans forget that quite a lot. Yeah.
Is there any FPL kind of slant to this point that you're making, or is it just a footballing point?
Well, no, it's a footballing point, and obviously there are quite a few people out there who probably own Lloris because
8.6%.
He's making a lot of saves, Hugo, which is regrettable. So I think in relation to it to an FPL point of view, the way the whole game sort of unravelled against Southampton with the red card, then Hugo's mistake, and the way we had to defend second half might be a big blessing, because this time last week I was talking about the defensive problems, about maybe going back to something a little bit more simplistic, maybe playing Eric Dyer in a 4-2-3-1, for example. Now, the next two league games, Brighton and Watford, don't necessarily necessitate having to play that way, and nor did the Southampton game at the weekend, in my opinion. But the way we defended might be a turning point, actually, in terms of the resolve we showed, because Southampton only had one real chance, or despite a lot of the ball, a lot of threatening positions. It was only the Yoshida header that really caused danger. Anything else was through our own makings, and a lot of the goals we concede seem to be through unforced errors. So defending like that in the game might actually remind them that, I mean, we've got two great centre halves.
Talking of centre halves,
oh, you want to talk about it, do you?
I have no idea. It's like the talk of all of the other questions.
If I had £1 for every time I got fucking tagged
Vertonghen and Eriksen's misses.
As Jan Vertonghen shagged Christian Eriksen's misses. I don't know. I wasn't there. I haven't bought the video.
What do they think? You're sitting in the corner of the room with a fucking camera phone ready to video it.
Did Harry Kane then defend Eriksen by knocking Vertonghen out, hence the black eye before the Newcastle game? Again, I don't know. I didn't have a ringside view. Look, it could be true. It could also be the biggest load of fucking fabrication I've ever heard. I will be keeping a close eye tonight on the game against Bayern. Little things like before the game, they tend to all kind of give each other high fives and that before the game. I'll be watching out for things like that. I would suggest, if it is true, Spurs had to sell one of the two. And it does add some weight to the idea of some of the things Pochettino's been saying about the mood in the camp. And I don't know why he keeps bringing it up when, all right, so Eriksen might be going on a free transfer next year rather than selling him for 50 million, for example. 50 million is half the TV money now. I mean, it's not that essential, right? If Eriksen stays and gets us in the top four rather than him leaving and us taking the money and not making it, it kind of pays for itself for him to stay, right? He's obviously not the sole reason why. It's an interesting one. I tend to think no smoke without fire because so many people are mentioning it.
About it, yeah, something.
But these things do tend to spread around the internet like wildfire. Just finally on Spurs, before we talk about your lot a little bit, Suj. Serge Aurier, unlucky guys, those who went on. As I said on last night's pod, Moussa Sissoko's the best right back at the club. Juan Foyt was a substitute at Colchester's nearing fitness. I have no idea what will happen with Aurier next. But I warned it was a massive risk. If you ever go for a Spurs fullback, it's a massive risk.
Yeah. There are only two topics of conversation on West Ham that are on anybody's lips, and that was Andy, let's talk FPL's second, and he said more legitimate question. Should we panic about Flappi and West Ham defenders? But he's not the only one at the moment. You've got, let's have a look here.
Nobody else.
No, we do. They're just ordered differently.
While you're looking, shall I repeat what you said last night, which is...
Yeah. It's a problem.
Yeah.
It's a problem.
It's a massive problem.
Yeah. Big geezer Ron Weasley, he tweeted out that Roberto is probably the worst keeper in the league. I think he's going to be up there challenging for, but then he hasn't had the minutes, so I've got to give him a chance. I think, but if we're ever going to lose Flappi, the next run of fixtures is a fair time to do it. But I'm not looking forward to any more clean sheets in the next 3 or 4. We could easily concede
I think
goals.
To give it some context, and a lot of people came back to me and said, what are you talking about, James? But when we looked at your game after United, and I asked how many United players would definitely get in the West Ham team, I didn't say that De Gea was a definite. Now, part of that's based on De Gea's longer term form. Fabianski's been exceptional for West Ham since he walked in the door last summer. Yeah. And he's been an exceptional FPL asset for over 3 years now. It's only this year he's got that boost up to 5, just gone up in price to 5.1. Yeah. Those who seem to know seem to think Roberto is shocking. Yeah. If you're on Issa Diop or Fredericks, what is the advice, Suj?
For the home games, maybe it depends if you're in a rotation. For the home games, I'd be more likely to play him. For the away games, I wouldn't play him. Home games, we've got Crystal Palace, and then we've got Sheffield United and Newcastle. I wouldn't say don't play him necessarily for those games, but Everton away, not worth it. There's my advice at the moment. The other player that everybody's talking about now is Haller, FPL special one. Is Haller worth holding? He seems more of a creative striker rather than goal threat. Takeaways 3 goals against leaky Watford and Norwich. I'm not sure I like his fixtures. And also Paul Wolf, is Haller's form dependent on Lanzini playing? You previously said that Haller was dropping deep and filling the gap that Lanzini leaves. Now Lanzini came on for a good chunk of the game. I expect him to play on Saturday.
Comes in for Fornals?
Yeah, for Fornals more than likely. And Yarmolenko on the left and and Felipe on the left. I mean, his goals are when he's been breaking into the box after we've broke
the lines, yeah.
So it's dependent on counter-attacking football. And that's depending on how other teams set up and line up.
Well, I was going to say, judging by your next fixtures then, other than actually maybe like Everton away, for example, Palace will come in deep. Sheffield United will probably come in deep. We know they'll play a different style to other teams, but they'll still come in quite deep, I think, especially buoyed by the defensive performance at Everton, right? To make them think, okay, this works, let's go with that again. So if you're saying it's more of a counter-attacking thing, I don't see too many games coming up where you'll be allowed to do that.
Yeah, the flip side is if we can score first, that's why scoring first for us matters so much. Then teams have to come on to us and then we can play counter-attacking football.
Just to expand that idea on counter-attacking, do you think that also applies to Anderson Yarmolenko as well?
Yeah. Yarmolenko less so. He likes to shoot from in and around the edge of the box quite a lot, and that's less reliant on there being a lot of space. But Anderson definitely is at his best. He's a quick player for Newcastle.
I don't know how anybody lets Yarmolenko in inside.
Yeah, it's stupid.
You just shove him outside every time, wouldn't you? You'd say, go on, swing it on your right.
Yeah. I can't remember. I think it was Ake that was defending against him in the Bournemouth game, showed him the inside. Yeah. He turned his body that way, and I was like, that's just asking for trouble, because 1 in 3, 1 in 4 is going to go in. But Felipe attacks with pace. He's a counter-attacking kind of guy, and Lanzini's similar as well.
He always looks at his best, I find, Anderson, when you're winning a game.
Yeah. And he's running at the defence, causing trouble.
Yeah. That's when he always looks at his best.
It's so important for us to score first, and it's so frustrating when we start games slowly.
Well, there's sort of games like Palace, Sheffield United at home you don't want to be going behind in.
No.
They become nightmare fixtures if you do.
Yeah, I agree with you. I definitely agree with you. We've got another question coming in from Scott. Let me pull out Scott Wilson. Where are you both from in London, and what made you support your clubs? We've answered this before.
We have. Maybe Scott doesn't know us that well.
Maybe not. So let's answer it again for Scott.
I'm from Tottenham. I support Tottenham. And
You're born and bred Tottenham?
Yeah, I was born in North Middlesex Hospital around the corner, mate. Yeah, where were you born? Like in Barnet or something?
Hospital.
There you go. Right, that's who you should
Barnet
support.
General Hospital.
I wasn't given any choice.
Yeah.
Trust me. In terms of who I supported, I was, as far back I can remember, I was supporting Tottenham. I wasn't given a choice.
Yeah.
Neither will my son either.
I don't think fathers should allow their children a choice. Mine haven't got a choice.
My son has 2 choices. 1, he can support Tottenham. 2, he can choose not to be interested in football at all, which will save me a fortune over the next coming 20 years or so. So, yeah, that one's up to him.
Yeah, I think...
He ain't supporting no one else, though. Hey, fuck dinner if he does that.
Yeah, I'm North London born and bred in Barnet. And I've said it before, Barnet was my first season ticket before ever West Ham came into play. But Barnet, when I had the season ticket in, I was 15, 16, so we're talking 95, 96, giving away my age. It was 15 quid for the whole season. 20 quid for the whole season. We were in Division 4 at the time, and there used to be the covered terrace, and then there was an open terrace, standing only, obviously. And it was 15 quid, but that was for the open terrace. But then they opened the kind of gates to walk around 5 minutes after the match starts. So you literally just walked over to the closed terrace. But the only reason I support West Ham is because I couldn't support Spurs or Liverpool because I was getting bullied into doing that.
And as we know, Arsenal are not a North London club.
Yeah. Well,
so West Ham was the next closest.
In those days, there weren't that many Gooners around me. There was a lot of Spurs fans and a lot of Liverpool. Late 80s, early 90s. No, not that much from an Arsenal kind of point of view. So I ended up watching West Ham lose 4-0 FA Cup semi-final the year you lot won it against Nottingham Forest, and that was that. Supported West Ham. And haven't looked back since.
It's not a lot changed since, has there?
There's plenty changed, mate. 60,000 all-seater stadium. Not for Barnet, obviously.
I thought you was going to say not for football.
Not for Barnet. Who have the Hive now, which is like 4,000 or 5,000. And they get like 300 people.
I mean, Underhill's One Ropey Stadium. That was the first stadium, I said it to you before, the first stadium I ever saw Harry Kane play. Was for Spurs kids at Underhill.
Yeah, we are Barnet, Super Barnet. We are Barnet from Underhill. But yeah, those days are long gone. I haven't seen Barnet forever. Super Bees.
I don't feel like I'm missing out, mate.
No, definitely not. That's the Twitter questions can be summarised into that.
Okay, cool. Final advice on the weekend for Spurs West Ham assets?
We're under the lights, 5:30 kickoff with Palace. It's a game we should be winning. If we don't win that game, I'm going to be deeply disappointed. I'll take the draw away at Bournemouth because of losing Flappi so early, but I'm not going to take a draw. I wouldn't be happy with a draw at home to Palace. We need to win this game.
We have not won an away league game since Fulham in January.
Yes, it's been a while.
That needs amending, and it needs amending this Saturday before it becomes a major psychological issue. I think the three fixtures that have gone so far, City, Arsenal, Leicester, you can look at that and go, okay, it's not great, but it's three of the toughest away games you're going to have all season. That needs putting right this Saturday. And we'll obviously talk Spurs a bit more on Thursday's Clash of the Correspondents because we have Ricky Saunders and FPL Seagull on.
We do. Why don't you give the listeners just a quick rundown on what else we have left for the week?
Tomorrow, Sky.
Yes.
We'll be looking at that. And ended up with Aubameyang's captaincy last night. Another pretty good week. I'm up to 12k overall now. Yourself, Suj?
44k.
That's like that. Better.
It's getting there.
You're getting there, yeah. Thursday, as I said, Clash of the Correspondents on Brighton and Tottenham. Friday, we'll preview weekend's fixtures, look at captaincy options, and I will probably try and tear apart Suj's current wildcard draft because he is on it.
Yeah, still on it. Haven't made any changes since yesterday. There are no players that I potentially am looking to bring in that are on price increases or anything like that, so I'm not too worried about that as it stands.
Okay.
Other than that, if you do want to run down on all of the weekend's fixtures, do listen to the main pod. Really enjoyable this week where we run down all the games. Yeah, it's there on all the platforms as it always is. And do interact with us on Twitter. Like and share any post on the podcast and review it if you want to. Other than that, ciao for now.
Cue music, man, child. Can't you Spurs?
Come on, you Irons.
Fantasy Football Show.